Integrity Compliance in Cognitive Integrity Management. Integrity Compliance. Create and process analysis. Welcome back. In this video, we will provide an overview of the Integrity Compliance module as a part of our Cognitive Integrity Management User Guide video series. This module allows the user to analyze inline inspection data that was just ingested from the vendor report, run what-if scenarios using a library of attributes and conditions to identify existing threats, create an action plan for any identified threats. Once you log in to Cognitive Integrity Management, you will select Integrity Compliance under the Processes tab on the main header menu. The layout of this screen is very similar to the Assessment Planning module. However, rather than creating an assessment, you will be creating a series of analyses. Let's start the process by creating a new analysis by clicking the New Plus button on the top right corner of the analysis table. When creating an analysis, you start off by selecting the system you would like to analyze. You then assign a name and choose the type of vendor report you will analyze by selecting from either Preliminary Report or Final Report. Then, you will choose the assessment you would like to look at. Finally, you will see a list of vendor reports assigned to the assessment. Here, you are able to select a single report or multiple. Typically, you would want to assess the single vendor report you just uploaded. Now, we will cover each of the following tabs under the vendor report table: Pods, General, Pipe Properties, Interacting Threats, Conditions, Attributes, Validation. Just as assessment planning, all related pods data to each system selected is loaded into the dashboard. This allows the engineer to double-check and ensure there are no updates required from the GIS team. Now, let's click on the General tab. You can start to configure the analysis under this tab. There are several types of analysis you can perform in the software with many ways to configure them. However, we have provided analysis templates that are out of the box. We have a default template for gas and one for liquid based on regulatory conditions. For the purpose of the video, let's choose liquid. As you can see, when the liquid default analysis is selected, the rest of the fields on the General tab are auto-populated with the previously determined values for a liquid analysis. You can set up any number of custom default analysis templates with settings of your choosing to save you time when creating analysis in the future. Let's review the different options you have here. You first define whether you want tool tolerance applied. Users can select none to have no tolerance applied at all to the analysis, or provide it in ILI file if the tolerance values are provided in the vendor file that we are analyzing the data for. Next, you select whether the tolerance is applied to HCA and non-HCA conditions or both. Next, you select which operating pressure you would like to use for analysis. Finally, you apply the corrosion growth rate you would like to use for the analysis from the following options: half-life, pit-to-pit average, pit-to-pit maximum, pit-to-pit minimum. For the pit-to-pit options, when a single anomaly has more than one historical match, these selections specify whether you prefer to calculate the minimum, average, or maximum rate of growth. Half-life will be used by default for any records where there is no previous anomalies to align to, or where the pit-to-pit growth rate is negative. Now, moving into pipe properties. To measure the integrity compliance conditions, you need to input information about the pipe medium. This information can be imported from either pods, if it has been connected to SIM, or by the ILI report if the information is provided by the vendor. This can be specified in the Pipe Property Source dropdown. A user can input default pipe properties that SIM will use in the instance where it does not find pipe properties in the source that was specified above. The inputs required include wall thickness, yield strength, diameter, nominal diameter, seam type, installation date, and MOP. Interacting Threats tab. Under this tab, you can select which previous vendor reports they would like to compare against when analyzing interactions. Through this functionality, you can determine which logs they would like to consider for interactions. Conditions tab. Under this tab, there are approximately 200 conditions or criteria that SIM can identify. These conditions cover standard PHMSA, regulatory requirements such as immediate, 180-day, etc. It also includes best practices from all of our customers, as well as some we have created using our own criteria based on research our data science team has done. If you had previously selected a default analysis type, in this case we selected liquid, then the conditions would be auto-populated already. The user has the option to just use the default selected or remove and add conditions as they please. On the left-hand side is a list of the condition categories that have been configured. Checking a category off opens up the conditions in that category to be selected for the analysis. On the right-hand side, we can toggle criteria that we would like to look at within a regulatory required window. Clicking each category will show which conditions are below it. Checking or unchecking a condition adds or removes it from your analysis. A user can also change reassessment intervals or adjust them on the company RIA conditions to ensure they get ahead of conditions in the future. Also, we can flag growth conditions with topside, bottomside, Dent. Attributes tab. This tab is where the user can tweak how the conditions are going to be evaluated, such as changing the ACN value for cracks, dents in close proximity, setting assessment interval periods, etc. Again, these will be auto-populated with the preset values if you use a default analysis type as we did here. To edit any of these attributes, just click the Edit icon, adjust the value, and save. Finally, the Validation tab. This tab functions the same as the Assessment Planning module where the system will alert users if there is any missing data. If the validation area is clear, the user can process the analysis. Remember, you can continue to edit and save your analysis until you are comfortable with it and feel that it is ready to process. Once you are ready, click the Process Analysis button. This will kick off the analysis in the background. This analysis should be complete in a couple of minutes. However, if a more in-depth analysis is running, such as threat detection, it can take up to 15 minutes. The Notification Center will notify you once the analysis is completed. We have now covered a basic overview of the Integrity Compliance module within Cognitive Integrity Management. Please feel free to send any questions related to this module to support@onebridgesolutions.com. Please continue to the next video in this series.